The next few lessons are going to be covering percent applications. So that now that we know how to find a percent of a number or to calculate what percent of a number actually is, we're going to use that information and that knowledge to apply it to real-world situations like discounts, sales, sales tax, simple interest, and things like that. So the next few videos are going to be covering those items. Today's video is going to review finding the percent of a number and also introducing how to find a discount and sale price. If we recall from section 6.1's video, a percent means a ratio of a part per 100, or literally translated, per means out of, cent means 100. So percent means out of 100. Let's go ahead and practice how to convert percents into their fraction part, their decimal part, and so on. So 23%. 23% means 23 out of 100. If I read that fraction correctly, 23 hundredths would be written as 23 hundredths behind the decimal, 0.23. A quick way of going from a percent to a decimal would be to take the decimal in the percent at the end of 23 and move it to your left 2 places. The next one is 5%. So if we write 5% as a fraction, it would be 5 over 100. We can simplify that to 1/20th because 5 goes into both 5 and 100. But if we read the 5/100ths fraction, we can write that decimal as 5/100ths. Or again, you can move the decimal in 5% 2 places to the left, and in that empty spot you're going to write a 0. Then we have 102%. So 102% would be 102 out of 100. 102 hundredths is kind of a difficult decimal to write, because 102 hundredths is bigger than 100. Just like the fraction 102 over 100 is bigger than 100. It's an improper fraction. So that would be 1 and 2 hundredths. Or if we move the decimal 2 places over to the right, it would show that our decimal would be 1 and 2 hundredths, or 1.02. Okay, let's go ahead and practice finding the percent of the number. Remember, there are 2 different ways to set up the proportion. There is over of equals percent over 100, or percent over 100 equals is over of. So here we have, in this problem here, we have 18% of 30. And in this case, we're doing percent over 100 equals is over of. Percent over 100 equals is over of. They're going to get you the same answers as is over of equals percent over 100. If you notice, we went ahead and put 18% above 100 because 18% literally means out of 100. Okay, so, and then of 30 means that it's going to go on to the bottom of our second fraction. I'm going to go ahead and bring out Billy Bob Joe the butterfly, do our cross products. I always start with the wing that shares the variable. In this case, it would be 100 times n. I'm going to set up my equation. 100 times n equals, because that's the sign in the middle, and then 18 times 30. 18 times 30, if you type that into the calculator, would be 540. Because I need to get n by itself, I have to undo that 100 times n, meaning I have to undo multiplication. I undo multiplication by dividing both sides by whatever number is in front of my n. So in this case, since 100 is my coefficient, or the number in front of n, I'm going to divide both sides by 100. Those 100s cancel out, and I'm left with n equals 540 divided by 100 is 5 4/10. So that's my answer. That is using a proportion. You can also use an equation, which can be a little bit quicker to solve if you understand it. However, If you're uncomfortable with the equation, you can always use the percent proportion. I'm going to go ahead and cross out that middle line there just because I think it's a little bit confusing. So go ahead and do that on your notes too. Okay, we're going to read this sentence and add the question, what is? So what is 18% of 30? There are a couple of key words here, just like in our proportion, is and of. Those two words mean two very distinct things. Is, in this case, means equals, and of means multiplication. If I read from left to right, I should see what is 18% of 30. Well, just like we talked about in class, what means X. It means we don't know what it is, or in, like they're using it. We'll go ahead and cross this out too. So I set it up a little bit different. So we have what is. What is my X. Is means equals. And then I have 18% of 30. Well, when I'm typing in 18% into a calculator, I'm not going to try and find the percent sign. So we're going to go ahead and change that 18% into a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places to the right, or sorry, excuse me, to the left. So we have X is, what is 18% written as a decimal, of means multiply 30. So in your calculator, to find the percent of 30, 18% of 30, all you're going to do is take 1800ths times 30. If you do that, you're going to find out that you agree with the answer you found from your proportion. 18% of 30 is 5 4/10. All right, we have a couple of practice problems. They're both the same, 8% of 48 and 8% of 48. One column is asking you to use the proportion, and one is asking you to use the equation. I'm going to ask you to pause the video each time so that you can try working this out on your own, and then hit play to see whether or not you got it correct. So go ahead and hit pause, and I want you to start solving 8% of 48 using the proportion. All right, if I remember, my proportion is over of equals percent over 100, or percent over 100 equals is over of. Both will give you the same thing. I always recommend finding the number with the percent sign first and placing that into your equation. Since 8% has the percent sign and percent literally means out of 100, 8 is going to go over 100. And then on the other side, I'm going to put of 48 on the bottom, on my denominator. And it turns out that I don't know what is, so I'm going to put an X there. Let's do our cross products. Starting with the wing that has the X, 100 times X equals 8 times 48. I can't do any math on this side of the equal sign. 100 times X, I don't even know what that is. So I'm going to do 100 times X equals, but 8 times 48, I can find what that is. 8 times 48 is 384, if you type that into your calculator. Now, according to this equation, I have 100 times X equals 384. So that means I'm going to have to solve for X by dividing both sides by my coefficient, or the number in front of X. In this case, it's 100. So X equals 384/100. Did you get it right? Okay, next up we're going to do solving the same problem, but this time I want you to translate it using an equation. And to help you out, you can go ahead and write in what is, to give you that key word is. So what is 8% of 48? Go ahead and pause the video again, work through this problem, and see if you get it right. Okay, what is? So what is my X? Is means equals. 8% written as a decimal would be 800ths, because I need to move my decimal 2 places over to the left. Of means multiply, and then we have 48. I'm going to type in my calculator 800ths times 48 and find out that I agree with 3 8400ths. See, winner, winner, chicken dinner, we match. It doesn't matter which way you use. You can use the proportion, you can use the equation. If done properly, both will give you the same answer. It's just all about what you're comfortable doing. So what I want you to do is to go ahead and do the try it out. Mrs. Carmichael and I will grade these tomorrow in class. We'll check them. They won't count as a grade, but you need to have them done in order to have complete notes grade for this lesson. You can try either way. You can use the proportion or the equation. It doesn't matter to us. Good luck. This section of the lesson is going to be talking about how you can use percents to calculate a discount in sale price. There are 3 vocabulary words that you need to be familiar with, and that would be discount rate. So, for example, you're having a 20% sale off of an original priced item. So that 20% off is the discount rate, and that means that that is the percent that you're going to take away from the original price or reduce from the original price. Discount is actually how much money. So discount rate means percent. So discount rate is the percent that's reduced, the 20% off. The discount is the amount, so that money that you're actually going to take away from the original price. And the sale price is what you're actually going to pay, so the reduced cost of the item. Let's go ahead and practice finding the discount and finding the sale price. We have a store that sells video games. So a store that sells video games gives a 15% discount for customers who trade in a used game. Alex brought a game in to trade and bought a game that cost $29.99. How much will the game cost before tax? So we're not even worrying about tax. There are 2 steps that we need to do. First of all, we need to be able to find out what the discount is. So how much less is Alex going to pay? And then finally, what is the final sale price? So in order to find the discount, we need to kind of combine those 2 pieces of information, the 15% and then the $29.99. So if you think about it, he's going to pay 15% less of that $29.99. So to find the discount, we need to think about what is 15% of $29.99. You can set up your is over of proportion. If you did that, it would be x over $29.99 equals 15 over 100. Or you can try using our equation. So we're going to go ahead and translate what is. What means x, we don't know. Is means equals. 15%, we need to go ahead and write it as a percent. Of means multiply. And then we're just going to go ahead and put in that $29.99. So all you're going to do is type in 1500ths times $29.99. And you're going to get a big long decimal. So 4,985 10,000s. But you need to make that make sense for dollars, for money. So when we're talking about money, we're talking about dollars and pennies. So we need to round to the nearest penny, which would be this number here. So that 8's going to bump the 9 up to a 10, and that 10 is going to bump the 4 up to a 5. So we're talking about a discount or a savings of $4.50 just for trading in your old game. Now to actually find out how much the game will cost, the new game, so after the savings of $4.50, we're going to take that $29.99, the original price of the item, and subtract how much money we saved by trading in our old game. So we saved $4.50 from that $29.99. Let's go ahead and subtract them in your calculator. And you're going to find out that Alex is actually going to pay $25.49 for his game rather than the full $29.99. Okay, let's practice this one together. I'm going to start by reading the problem. Then I want you to pause and try and find the discount on your own, and then do the last step to find the sale price. Once you're done, hit play and see if you agree with what I got. All right, so Jane is buying a tablet. The original price is $79. It's on sale for 10% off. calculate the discount and the sale price. So go ahead and pause your video, find the discount first, and then find the sale price. So the discount is 10% off of $79. So we need to figure out what is 10% of $79. You can do your is over of equals percent over 100, and if you did that, you would have x over 79 equals 10 over 100. Then you cross multiply and divide to solve, or you can set up our equation. So what means x, is means equals, 10% written as a decimal is 10 hundredths, of means multiply, and then $79 we leave it as it is because it's not a percent. So I'm going to type into my calculator 0.1 times 79 and find out that my answer is $7.90. So what that means is I'm going to save $7.90 on my tablet. Doesn't mean that my tablet's going to cost $7.90. It means that my savings is going to be $7.90. To find the sale price, I need to take my original price as $79 and subtract my savings, my $7.90 from the 10% off sale. I subtract those two things and I find out that I'm going to be paying $71.10 for the tablet. How'd you do? Okay, I want you to go ahead and start the independent practice. This is something you're going to do on your own tonight, right after you watch the video. Mrs. Carmichael and I will go over this problem, but everyone must have it done before we do. Otherwise, you'll lose points for completion of your notes. Good luck.